Hello and welcome to another episode of The Verdict. This week we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have more of an off-the-cuff, more loosey-goosey type show. We're just going to talk about some of our favorite topics and then some upcoming movies. This is The Verdict. There will be no spoilers ahead. First things first, we want to talk about some of our favorite movies that we've seen recently. Are there any movies that you guys just saw that you really want to talk about?
Well, the movie that I saw, it was a while ago. It was the new Puss in Boots movie.
Ooh. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so originally when the sequel to Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, was announced and trailers were coming out, people were like, why? Because the original Puss in Boots came out when I was back in middle school.
About 10 years ago.
About around 2011, I believe.
Yeah, it was over 10 years ago.
And so, people were thinking this is going to be one of those situations where you have a sequel of a movie that came out years ago. It's just going to be a regular cash grab, no inspiration. But as people started seeing the trailers more, the thing that got me was the animation style. Because the animation style reminded people a lot of Into the Spider-Verse, or had that very, sometimes, stop motion kind of 2D look to it at times.
Yeah, similar to Bad Guys, which I also heard was a pretty decent film.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Bad Guys, the same people who are, it's DreamWorks, same people who did all those movies and stuff. And so the thing that I want to get on is that Into Spider-Verse really changed how animation is shown throughout the animation industry. Because before, the look that I felt like was being dominated was the typical 3D animation. Films that Disney and Pixar kind of were putting out. I'm not saying they were bad films, because some of my favorite films other recently was Encanto, and but it just felt like all the other studios was copying that 3D look, like Illumination was copying that 3D look. It just felt like 3D animation was not taking risks when it comes to their artistic styles. But then Into the Spider-Verse came out by Sony. Because before Into the Spider-Verse came out, you had the Emoji Movie by Sony, which people immediately saw was okay, you're just doing this just for a literal cash grab. This is the definition of let's take the most popular thing that kids like, emojis, which pretty much is
pretty much just trying to rip off the Lego Movie, essentially.
Yeah, even the funny thing is, even when the Lego Movie was coming out, people thought it was a cash grab because it's just going to be a commercial, but then it turned out, no, it actually had a script. And so, Into Spider-Verse came out, it really blown everyone out of the way because it showed this really interesting 2D, 3D, stop motion animation that has, I'm saying never been seen, but has never been done to that level. And the upcoming movie, the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse,
Across the Spider-Verse
is really going to blow everything out of the water, because it's just going to be, references and things you could pick out galore all over the place, characters that I have never heard of because I'm not that big in the comics.
We're definitely going to talk about that when we're going over upcoming movies, but for Puss in Boots, what exactly is the movie about? I know it's called The Last Wish, and basically, I know he lost his lives and he's trying to get back.
So let me break it down to you the best I can. Death. Yeah, so basically, the premise of Puss in Boots is that he is down to his last life and everything, because throughout his lives, he's been reckless. He's been the quote-unquote legend Puss in Boots. But then as soon as he hits his last life, he comes across a character who is literally death in the movie. A scary, red-eyed werewolf who's like, you haven't been appreciative of your lives. I am going to take yours right now. And that pretty much scares him. And pretty much the thing about the movie is that it goes into topics of accepting your own mortality, accepting, what life gives you. It kind of reminds me of Soul that came out from Pixar that talked about the same thing, what life is all about, appreciating your life, and appreciating the ones that are in your life. And look, this is hardcore for a Puss in Boots movie, but even I was surprised. And it even goes into, anxiety, because Puss in Boots literally has an anxiety attack. It isn't played for a joke. He literally has an anxiety attack, and it takes another character, his support dog, to calm down. And this is the kind of stuff you would never think would even be talked about in a Puss in Boots movie, but it really does show that, look, animation, at the end of the day, there's still a form of movie telling and storytelling. And even though it's quote unquote for kids, you can still have these real moments of characters having conversations, talking about some real stuff that even adults can appreciate.
Oh, it's really interesting. The movies I saw recently are nothing like that. I saw a
Yeah, I one-upped you, huh?
I saw a intensely brutal horror film called Barbarian and a classic underrated Mike Myers comedy called, I'm not kidding when I say, So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh.
It's actually surprisingly really funny. Especially the parts where Mike Myers, he actually acts as his dad, who's Scottish. So saying things like his mom saying like, "Oh, let me show you his baby picture." It's like, "Show him the one from Niagara Falls when he crapped himself."
Oh.
So, like things like that, which kind of reminds me of my actual great grandfather, who's sadly no longer with us, but he was bound to a wheelchair in his later years, but he would still always be tough but funny, where he would be like, "Don't make me come over there when my leg no longer works, because I'll do it. I'll beat you with it." So it kind of reminded me a little bit of home with that. But also Barbarian was this intense horror film that came out last year where the trailers were purposely very vague. And you just knew that there was some crap going on in this house. It was like an Airbnb. And it's a movie I highly recommend if you're not too squeamish. It gets very gory, very fast.
Are you talking about like Saw levels of gory, or is
No,
it
it
kind of
feels-
gory where it's more for a comedic effect or horror effect?
Oh, there are some comedic elements in it. There are some genuinely funny moments, like where the guy who owns this Airbnb, he finds it's like what's clearly like a messed up cellar in the house that he didn't know about. Like it has a camera, an old bed, and blood stains and handprints and stuff. And it's like, this clearly looks like a murder room. And he's like, "Oh, cool, another room I could add to the price."
Ooh.
It's like, okay. And he like takes a tape measure to it and everything, completely ignoring that this is clearly a crime scene. So it's like things like that. But I wouldn't say it's like Saw. I feel like it actually kind of has a point to it.
Okay.
So, are there any movies you've seen recently, Colton? You talked about Black Panther, I believe.
Yeah, I saw the sequel
Really?
on Disney Plus.
What'd you think of it?
I thought of it as a fitting homage to the fallen Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman, and I also saw it as a bit of a like a follow-up story. And right near the end, there was this kid who says he was the son of then.
I guess
King
spoilers
T'Challa.
are ahead.
Yeah. Oh, please. If you
Nah,
see Black Panther, it's your fault.
Exactly.
Highest
I think
grossing
enough
movie,
people
my
have
butt.
seen it by now. So, proceed.
So, what I'm trying to say is, long story short, T'Challa Jr. is going to be next in line for the throne. So everything has come full circle in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Let's hope it continues that way. Because I know a lot of people really did enjoy Black Panther. Personally, I thought it was actually better than the first one.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people are concerned about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But another movie I did see recently, it's an older film. Don't hate me on this, that I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. It was actually the last Airbender movie. I watched it to see how bad it was. And it was bad, don't get me wrong, it was really bad. But the couple actors, like the actors who played Zuko and Iroh, I thought they did well. And even then, I thought the music was fantastic in the movie, so I was like, I gotta give it props for getting something right. So in the end, it was entertaining. I wasn't bored while watching it, but I was thinking, I did keep going back and forth about going, you know what, the show is so much better. The making a film adaptation, they should have tried a lot harder than this.
I mean, it was back in when it came out, like early.
I think 2009.
Before
I think so.
2020, because
Yeah.
2010, I think it came out.
Yeah, I think it came out in 2009.
Yeah. I mean, it was around the time where I wasn't really a big Avatar: Last Airbender fan, not because I didn't like the show, but because I wasn't really paying attention to it that much. I would catch it here and there. It wasn't until recently that I did watch back and be like, wow, this really does touch a lot. This is more deep. What was I doing? Because I was just watching SpongeBob and Danny Phantom and other cartoon and other
that's
Nickelodeon
not a bad
cartoon
choice.
network shows. But I feel like book adaptations. Adaptations. What was it?
Applications.
Adaptations. Oh no. But I think we should go into our next topic.
All right, well, our next topic is going to be after these messages. We're going to talk about our favorite upcoming movies. We'll see you in a moment.
The black truck?
At it.
Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back. We're about to talk about some of our favorite movies that haven't even come out yet, that we haven't even seen yet. So what are you guys looking forward to in Hollywood right now?
What I'm looking forward to is a new Disney Pixar motion picture called Elemental.
Oh, I haven't heard about that. What's it about?
Well, Talon, you mentioned Avatar: The Last Airbender movie earlier, right?
Yes.
Well, this movie has land, fire, water, air, all the elements living together, and then a fire person goes with a guy of another element when they discover something elemental, hence the title.
Oh, it's interesting.
They have something in common. But
It's
what?
basically a love story. Two opposites and they attract.
It also sounds like it's kind of a semi-follow-up to Inside Out, based on how you describe it, and that it's kind of going into more philosophical areas, not just like specific animate objects. They're going into like the elements, similar to how Inside Out went into the feelings. So if anyone can pull it off, it's got to be Pixar. But
Absolutely.
as soon as you mentioned Elemental, the first thing I thought was like, wait, is people of different elements? I was like, did everything change when the Fire Nation attacked? That's the first thing that popped in my head. But Pixar announced another big sequel that a lot of people are kind of divided on. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this one may ruffle a few feathers. Toy Story 5 is coming up really soon, and some people think that Pixar should have just stopped right at 4.
Some people say they should have stopped at 3. Personally, I really enjoyed 4, but I can admit 3 had the superior ending that really did properly end the franchise at a higher note.
Talon, we got to move on.
Sorry. Alan, are there any movies you're looking forward to?
I guess the upcoming Super Mario Brothers movie is looking really good. I remember when people say it was Illumination, people were always comparing it to like Despicable Me, but then you look at the animation, and I watched that recent Super Mario Brothers movie direct, and they talk about how a lot of people are working this, Nintendo itself is working on this, 600 artists from France is working on this. They updated their lighting software. I've seen a lot of analysis of it, and it just looks like a really good time that's just paying homage to one of my favorite video game franchises.
Yeah, I really am looking forward to it too. A lot of people are kind of half and half on Chris Pratt playing Super Mario, but I gotta admit the rest of the cast, they're all absolutely amazing. I think they're gonna do the characters very justice.
Yeah, the thing about Chris Pratt is that it's funny because people are always thinking of Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, but I knew him as, the guy from Parks and Rec, the guy who played Emmett in the Lego movie. He also done a lot of other voice casts. He's done some voice casts in Ben 10. He does some other voice casts I can't think about, but he's not like an actor they just pulled out where he hasn't done voice acting for animation stuff in the past. And he also did voice acting for Pixar's recent movie that came out. It was
Onward.
Onward.
Yes.
And so it's always funny because I always think that it's like, well, he's done voice acting in the past, and he actually is a good actor, so I don't know why people had a problem with him in the Lego movie.
Honestly, I feel
People
like
didn't have a problem with the Lego movie, but have a problem with it as Mario.
I think it's more the fact he's playing Mario itself, not the fact he's voice acting. Because I feel like he could actually make a better Bowser or even Toad. But with Mario, it's not like Charlie Day playing as Luigi. With Charlie Day as Luigi, that's perfect casting. Like, it's easily probably the best casting in the movie. But for him, I'm not hearing Mario. I'm hearing...
I guess for me, it's I'm wondering, okay, when they're making the movie, can people withstand the quote-unquote stereotypical Mario voice for an hour and a half?
Probably not.
Yeah, because it's going to be it's a me, let's go.
I think it'd always do the Captain Lou Albano voice from the original Mario Brothers TV show.
Yeah, I've seen the recent trailers where he has done an Italian Brooklyn accent where it's more toned down. So it's not like he's just doing Chris Pratt. He actually is doing a more, Brooklyn toned down Italian voice.
Yeah. One movie I'm looking forward to seeing is actually Evil Dead Rise. It's the 5th theatrical release in the Evil Dead franchise, and it doesn't have any of the original cast, but the director has just such a passionate vision for it, taking it to basically taking it to new heights, where even Bruce Campbell decided to come on as producer. This was originally going to come out straight to HBO, but apparently the new heads of Warner Brothers they saw an early screening of it. They loved it so much, they said, this has to be in theaters. We're going to double your post-production budget so this can be on the big screen. So that just shows how great the quality is. And even naysayers, people who were upset about them rebooting Evil Dead again, as soon as they saw the trailer, they immediately shut up and was like, okay, you got our attention. And I was one of those people. I was looking forward to it, but as soon as I saw the trailer, I was thinking this is going to be something really special for the fans of the franchise.
Yeah, I always feel like with a lot of movies, but even before they come out, I always like to wait and see. Even with the Emoji Movie, I'm like, look, as long as you have good writing, I'll wait and see.
I actually was thinking that when the Emoji Movie was announced, I actually was even thinking it could be like the Lego Movie. A lot of people thought that was going to be crap. So, but yeah, it's amazing what trailers can do. It could bring people around or it could turn people away. Like I know definitely the Marvel movies have a definite trend with that. You know, with Ant-Man Quantumania coming out recently, but people also really looking forward to the new Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Are you guys looking forward to seeing that?
I mean, I'm at the point with Marvel where, you know, after Endgame, it just felt like this big finale where it almost felt like a series finale where if you just ended the MCU right now, it could have just wrapped up because I feel like throughout into that point it was just building up to Thanos and everything. But I just feel like right now the MCU is in this spot where I guess people are like, okay, where are we going in that kind of sense? Like, is there going to be another big bad? Because, I don't know, I just feel like nothing about the MCU right now can be excited. I mean, I was big into WandaVision when it came out and Loki and everything. I guess when it comes to their certain projects I'm looking forward to, but I guess like the overall picture of watching everything, being a super fan, watching all the analysis videos, like I'm not really there. Unless something like really like blows me away to where it really gets me ready to watch the next one, then I'll be like more excited.
Yeah, that's normally how I am with the Marvel movies. I've been that way a lot for the past couple of years. I even told people when Endgame came out, what goes up must come down. So it's not going to be as special as it once was. But for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the trailer really did impress me. And I've always been a big fan of James Gunn's work to the point where I'm thinking it's going to be something really cool. It's probably going to pull some heartstrings because several actors have said that they're probably not going to come back to the MCU. So this could be their last movie. What that means for their characters is up in the air, but a lot of people are thinking some of the Guardians are not going to make it out of this adventure alive. And that's something that I know is going to break my heart, but if it moves the story forward in a good way, I think it'll be worth it. Are there any other movies you guys are looking forward to?
I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, one thing that we wanted to talk about are our thoughts for trends in the film industry. We're going to talk about that after this commercial break.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
We're going to talk about one of the most divisive topics, trends in the film industry.
Oh boy.
And a lot of people have some really colorful thoughts about things that are going on, both positive and negative. What are some of the trends you guys have been noticing in the Hollywood industry lately?
I mean, not so much trends, I guess, from Hollywood itself, but trends I see people when they do talk about movies and entertainment nowadays is that a lot of people, for some reason, just put on the word woke for everything when a movie is trying to be diversive or trying to show different perspectives on things and show either people of color or women in empowerment. I don't know, that's the only thing I've really seen from the film industry when it comes to online stuff.
I haven't noticed that. I know that plagued like the latest, or not the latest anymore, but the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. I remember that plagued it when it came out. And it's hard not to see where people were coming from and that there were some passionate fans who just didn't want a reboot in general. They just didn't like the idea of a reboot. I feel like if they made like a spinoff or a sequel, it could have worked. But even then, I actually liked the movie, but I can understand some people maybe not like it. Not all the jokes land. Some people might get annoyed by some of the performances. Though I personally enjoyed it, I can understand other people not liking it. But for those who just straight up said, oh, it's starring women, automatically it's bad. That did kind of irk me a little bit. It's like, give it a chance at least. Like,
I mean, and another trend I have seen is, I don't know, just, I guess, reboots and adaptations, of course. you know, because they feel like Disney's like rebooting everything. And it's like one of those things where I always go to the mindset of like, well, we always have the original. Like, it's like one of those things where when Little Mermaid comes out, I'm not going to be mad or anything or upset or even excited for it. I'm just going to be like, okay, I'll just wait. And when it comes out, if I watch it, I'll watch it. But I always have like the original. And it always that thing where I never want to get too mad online because I'm just like, look, I got my own stuff to worry about. Because I just feel like some fans take it too much where I'm like, come on, man, just calm down. It's just a movie. And I'm not saying it to you, but I'm saying it to other people. They're like, wow, people are really upset. I thought it looked cool.
I mean, some of the Disney live action remakes I thought were okay. Like, I mean, I know it's weird, but I actually did kind of like the Pete's Dragon remake.
I don't even remember that.
Now
That you brought it up, I do remember it, but it just felt like, they're doing this one.
Christopher Robin I actually really enjoyed. The Dumbo trailer was one of the best trailers I've ever seen, but the movie was terrible. Which, like, honestly, the trailer literally did invoke tears in me. That's how big a deal it was, but when I just saw the movie, I was like, oh, man. But with the Disney live-action remakes, I think some of the problems that people have with it is, like, it's taking away resources from something that could be more original and more fun and rewarding for their audience and not just rehash the same thing to make for the sake of money.
And the thing about it is that it's always that complaint of when I saw with Beauty and the Beast where it's like, okay, you're either doing a one-for-one or you're adding stuff to a story that doesn't really need to be added and stuff. Or you're just doing something completely different to where people are upset. It just feels like people are going to be upset no matter what. If you say too close to the original, people are like, okay, what's the point? But if you, like, go too far away from it, people are going to be like, well, this is not even the same movie, so what's the point of watching it? So I feel like it's a catch-22 of everything when it comes to the Disney remakes.
Yeah, and Disney's probably we're going to be talking about the most because Disney has been irking a lot of people lately with pretty much everything they're doing. Like one of their more recent films, it completely bombed at the box office because they did little to no advertising. It's because their former CEO, who had to step down after this movie's release, it was a movie called Strange World, he apparently did not like animation.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, the CEO at Disney just did not like animation, so he basically cut their advertising budget in half. And the movie like lost a ton of money. And people who actually saw it said it was fantastic. But how many have either of you actually heard of Strange World?
Oh yeah, I've seen Strange World. Of course, I'm on the internet. Okay. And I've seen it on Disney Plus, for last Christmas with my family and everything, because I just had like a nephew and everything.
Okay.
And so I've seen it, and I thought it was good. Yeah, it definitely felt like one of those movies where, I don't know, it didn't feel like they were actually ramping it up or getting people excited for it. It just felt like they were just putting it out there, as you just said.
I was like, what even is it? Is this a new show? Is this a video? I thought it was a video game, actually, at one point. It looked like a video game. So I was completely confused by it.
I don't know, I just feel like it's going to go down in history as one of those movies like, I don't know, Treasure Planet or Atlantis, where people are going to be looking back and be like, oh yeah, it was good.
Like, how
years
did it
later.
bomb? Yeah, that's sad. Luckily, that CEO of Disney's gone. But now that Bob Iger's back, some people are kind of a little concerned about that because he's also the one responsible for Disney Star Wars. Another thing that people are upset with Hollywood about because, like many franchises, they're just becoming over-bloated to the point where no one's even really excited about them as much as they should be.
It's like one of those things where it's like, it's dead. Just stop digging it back up. Like, I'm fine with you bringing back stuff, as we previously said with Puss in Boots, but it just feels like, are you just bring these franchises just for the nostalgia? Because I think that's the biggest thing with Hollywood now is that pretty much nostalgia. And remakes and reboots aren't like a new thing. There were like reboots and remakes back in the early 2000s raining for Hollywood all the time.
Even in the 50s, Ten Commandments was actually a remake of a silent film from the same director. He was just like, I want to remake my movie with the new technology that's available to me.
I mean, that's the thing is that the reason why a lot of these monster movies were rebooted, like The Blob or Dracula or Frankenstein, is because of the new technology that allows them to do new things. But we're, I guess, hitting a point where it's like The Little Mermaid still holds up, Beauty and the Beast still holds up. A lot of these older movies still hold up, so I don't know why. I guess a lot of people are like, we don't really need it. I guess that's the thing. People are like, we don't really need a reboot or a remake of these films.
It feels like it hinders, causes more harm than good, especially with something like Lion King, where since they were trying to make it more realistic, they couldn't emote. Mm-hmm. They couldn't do the things you could do in animation, despite it being an animated film still. So it was something that just irked a lot of people. So, and with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people are just wanting that to stop at this point because like you said earlier, Endgame was like the perfect ending. So going further, it feels like they're just trying to keep the cinematic universe going. Similar to they're trying to turn Star Wars into a cinematic universe, and a bunch of other studios are trying to make their own cinematic universes.
Does nobody remember Dark Universe with Universal? They had one movie, a logo, and that was it.
Oh, and a production photo with other actors who weren't even in the same room together.
So what are your thoughts, man?
I'm just thinking that most box office flops should have just died and stayed dead. Just more than 6 feet under. 66 feet under.
Oh.
I mean, you say that, but some of the classic movies, like you look back on, like the Iron Giant bombed. And
Yeah,
still people remember it.
Scarface didn't do very well in the box. It's a Wonderful Life actually failed in the box office. A lot of people thought it was going to be forgotten, but now that's a Christmas classic.
Even Disney classics like Pinocchio and other classics didn't really do that good. I mean, I just feel like when it comes to classics that people look on fondly, it's that thing of, okay, you're making a sequel, you're making a reboot, but why though? Like, is there passion behind it? Because at the end of the day, the entertainment business is a business. They're not your friends, they don't care about your feelings. At the end of the day, they want to make money. But at the same time, there are still people there who I generally think want to make a good movie at the end of the day. I believe that no one at Disney or any other Hollywood studio wants to make a bad movie. They want, make a good movie at the same time, make their money. So it's like the thing of like back and forth of like, well, if we stop the MCU, is that going to affect people's jobs, livelihood? And that's the thing that I've seen some people not think about is the people that actually work behind these projects. At the same time, is that people still make these. Like, I know you're looking at a studio and a logo as a cold-hearted machine, but at the end of the day, people still work there.
That's true.
And so I don't know what's going to happen to all those people if they stop the MCU. Maybe the reason why they're doing MCU is because they want to keep it going, but at the same time, make sure that people have jobs and money to support themselves and their families.
Well, it's funny you say that because apparently a lot of MCU employees are actually being abused currently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they're being overworked to the point where a lot of people are complaining about the animation not looking as good. That's because a lot of the same animators, they're being worked like 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. all in a day, get 3 hours of sleep maybe, and then have to come and work on another project, and they won't extend the deadlines, and they have to work on the same stuff.
Yeah, because when it comes to CGI studios, a lot of times the reason why, so you look at some CGI like the first Black Panther, it didn't look that good in shots, it's because not because they're lazy or they're terrible, it's because they didn't have the time or resources to make it good. Because at the end of the day, Disney wants and Marvel wants a deadline because they want the movie to come out either before the holidays, why do you think a lot of Disney movies animated comes out on November? So the reason why a lot of these studios will push is because, hey, this have a deadline. We don't care if it kind of looks this bad. We need to get out. We need to make the money, and we need to make our return back.
Yeah, I think that's when something feels soulless, is when they're making it just for the intent of the money. Like, that's the same thing with Disney's Star Wars. As a bunch of people say, it feels soulless. When Lucas was in charge, it wasn't perfect. However, you could always say, whose movie does this belong to? It's Lucas. It's a story he wanted to tell, something that he was really passionate. He could care less if it made money. He just wanted to tell this story. With Disney, when they got Star Wars, did they really want to tell the story of Emperor Palpatine coming back to life? No, they just wanted to make money, and in the end, that's what hurts the industry. Well, thanks for joining us on The Verdict. Next week, we are going to talk about favorite movie musicals.
Oh, yeah.
We hope you see you guys then, and have a good day.
Bye.
Peace out.